What if you come to a homework assignment or a test question or quiz question, and the problem asks you to write the equation of this line drawn here on this graph? What do? No problem. The first thing you have to remember is you have to remember that we're going to be writing these equations in slope-intercept form. And so remember that slope-intercept form is simply y is equal to mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b. That should definitely be in your memory. What do these numbers or what do these letters mean? What do they represent? The x and the y are just simply the coordinates of any point along this line. So there are 2 points here. We could put the coordinates of those 2 points in there for x and y. It's the m and the b that are going to be especially important for us right here. The m is going to be our slope, the slope of the line. So when we are writing this equation, the first thing we'll have to figure out is what is the slope of this line. The second thing that we'll have to figure out is b. The b is the y-intercept. What is the y-intercept of this line? In other words, where does our line, this green line drawn here on the graph, where does that line cross our y-axis? So where does it cross? So that's what we can determine, and that part is pretty easy. So first let's get the slope. Let's get that m. And we can get that from the graph, remembering that slope is equal to rise over run. Slope is equal to rise over run. Let's see what the rise over the run is on this line between this point and this point. We always do this from left to right, like we're reading a sentence. So let's start with this point here on the left, and we'll determine what the rise and the run is as we go from this point to this point. Let's start with the rise. The rise deals simply with how far up and down will we be going. And clearly we're going to be going down to get from this point to this point. And we're going to be going down from there to about there. And it looks like we went down 2. Now this is going down. If we're talking about rise over run, going up would be positive, but our rise, if it's going down, that is going to be a negative number. So our rise is actually -2. We went down by 2 little tick marks there on the graph. What's the run? How far are we going from left to right? To get from here to here, we're going over 1, 2, 3, 4. So our run in this case is 4. Rise over is -2, run is 4. Let's put that into our formula. Rise over run is equal to -2 was our rise. Our run is right there, 4. Don't forget to put it in lowest possible terms. -2 over 4 can reduce to -1/2, -1/2. So there's our slope. So there's actually that's most of the difficulty here on this problem. We got the slope here is -1/2. But now we need the y-intercept. No problem. Again, remember what the y-intercept means. Just like the name describes, it's where our line intercepts or crosses the y-axis. And it looks like that is occurring right there. Let's put a mark right there. So there is our y-intercept. Where is that occurring? Well, if this is the origin right here, this green line crosses the y-intercept at +1, +2. So our y-intercept here is going to occur at 2. It occurs where y equals 2. So our y-intercept in this case then is just simply 2. And if we're going to write this equation now, that's the point of this question, write the equation of this line. Our equation will simply be y is equal to our slope m we determined is -1/2 times x plus our y-intercept, which is right up there, we determined to be 2, and there's our equation. One thing you should always do is make sure that you've got that slope right. This line is going down, so a lot of times people will forget about that negative sign, but make sure, if you see a line going down, make sure your slope is going to have a negative number. Very common error there. Make sure that's a negative number. And that's our equation. And we won't write anything in for x and y because remember, those are just the coordinates of any point here along the line. So we'll just leave those as variables. They can be any numbers here that would fall along that line. And that is our answer.